install the new pad on your Exo Chair pedal, you'll need a drill with a square bit. Hi, my name is Kayleen and I'm here in the BB Garage to show you how to replace your Exo Chair pedal pad. So over the years, your pad and your pad cover might kind of deform, or they might get torn or ripped. So it's pretty easy to replace them. Balance Body will send you a pad that looks just like this, and you'll have to unscrew 4 screws on the pedal and screw 4 screws back in, and then it should be all installed. So to get started, I'm going to turn the chair on its side. So let's go ahead and remove this dowel, making sure the springs are attached so they don't crash. And then I'm going to tip it over. And this will just make it easier for me to access underneath the pedal here. So along with my pad, I need a drill, and the drill has a square bit. So these screws use a square bit instead of like a traditional Phillips or Allen key. And then I've got some replacement black bumpers. Okay, I'm going to work on the top pedal here. So at the moment you can only see that 2 screws exposed because the other 2 are hiding under these black bumpers. Okay, so I'm just going to peel this off. Oh, that one's stuck on there really well. And there's your other one, and that one came off easier, and there's the other one. So now we can see we need to remove these 4 screws here. It's easier for me to access them from this side with my handy drill. All right. One. All right, there's our old pad. Let's toss it out of the way. We don't need it anymore. So our new pad doesn't have holes drilled in it yet. So I'm going to show you a trick to make sure that the screws will go in securely and clamp it down to the pedal really well. You don't need a drill like a drill bit. You just need your screws and the square bit that we've talked about. Okay, so I'm going to hold this up basically where I want it. And I like to use the other pedal as a gauge, right? So it's probably got the same amount of overhang. And then I'm going to make sure it's centered. There we go. All right, so from here, I'm going to hold it pretty tight. And I'm going to start one of these screws. They won't go all the way in, but I'm just going to start it so that it grips the chair pad. And you can see it kind of pulls away from the pedal. That's okay. Then I'll take my other screw. Make sure that it is still aligned properly, okay? So it's still centered and it's got the same amount of overhang. We'll start another one. Okay, and we'll do the same for the bottom 2 holes. Now we've got these 4 screws started. You can see probably or feel that the pedal has started, or the pad has started to pull away from the pedal, and that's because the pad isn't pre-drilled, and that's okay. So now we've got them started, we're going to take them out. And what that does is it leaves behind a puncture in the vinyl and maybe a little bit of a hole there, so we can actually see with our eyes where those holes are going to go. All right, so we take a look at the bottom of our pedal pad, right? And you can see that there are 4 holes that have been started. So now we're going to use the screw to drill deeper into each of these 4 holes that have been started. We'll just go in and then back out, and that's essentially going to give us a hole to work from for when we attach it to the pedal. Make sense? All right, so I can use the same screw. I'm going to go right in this hole here, and it's probably better to make sure that this is level. I'll go in just to the depth of the threads. Okay, so notice I didn't go all the way in, and then I'll do that in the next hole. Woo! That one's getting hot. Let's use a different screw. Okay, now we've got some holes started for these screws. We're going to go ahead and put it back on. So let's make sure you can see that these holes are not centered on the pedal. So we want to make sure that we've got them in the right direction. So if I put it here, is the overhang correct, or is it supposed to be here? So that looks about right. All right. I'm going to stick one of these screws through the screw hole so I can see it on the other side, meet the hole. There we go. I'm not going to tighten it quite all the way yet. I'll do all 4 first. Get them started. Okay, let's go down here. There we go. Last one. Okay, so I've got all 4 in, so I'm going to tighten these down a little bit. Just be careful not to over tighten them, okay? The head of the screw will probably go just below flush with the surface of the wood. There we go. There we go. All right, so our pedal looks nice and flush with the pad. I think it's all installed. Last thing we need to do is put our bumpers on. So I'm going to peel one of these off, and I can see where the old ones were here. But even if you can't see, you're just going to position it so that one corner covers the most inside of the screw holes. There we go. Okay, I'm going to toss my old bumpers. Don't need those anymore. Now, when I flip this up, I'm just going to make sure the springs stay attached so the pedals don't crash. There we go. All right. Now we've got our new Exo Chair pedal pad installed, and it's ready for use. Thanks for joining me here today in the BB Garage. If you need more videos like this one, you can check them out at pilates.com/bbgarage. I'll see you there.